Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a boy, named Jack, who lived with his widowed mother. Jack and his mother were very poor and could barely afford to put food on the table. It came to the point that they had to sell their very last cow for money to buy food. Jack's mother asked him to go to the marketplace to sell their cow. Jack was so excited to go to the marketplace because it gave him the chance to steal whatever he wanted. The next morning, Jack took their last cow to the marketplace to try and sell it. As Jack was walking to the marketplace thinking of all the things he would steal, he bumped into an old man with a handful of magical beans. The old man offered to sell the beans to Jack, but Jack had a different idea. Jack asked the old man if he could hold the beans to get a better look at them. While pretending to look at them, Jack stole the 3 magical beans from the old man. Feeling curious if the magical beans work, Jack decided instead of going to the marketplace, he would go home to plant his new magical beans. Once Jack got home, his mother was so upset he didn't trade the cow, she decided to throw his magical beans out the window and told him that magical beans do not exist. The next day, Jack woke up and looked out his window and saw 3 giant beanstalks that reached the sky. Feeling once again curious, Jack climbed up the beanstalk to see if there was anything magical, and there he found a castle. It took no time for Jack to make his way into the castle, where he saw a giant. The giant took a sniff and knew there must be a boy around for him to cook and eat. Jack hid quietly until the giant fell asleep after he had just eaten a big meal. Jack tiptoed around the castle searching for something to steal. There were so many things for Jack to steal. Jack grabbed a sack and filled it with gold coins, some herbs and spices, a hen that laid golden eggs, a few books, and a magical harp. He ran out with his full sack as fast as he could. Once he got home, Jack showed his mother everything that he saw and stole. His mother was so happy that they had some money again, but she made Jack promise to never go back up to the castle ever again.
A few days later, Jack wanted to go back to the castle to steal some more things, but then he thought to himself, if at the top of one beanstalk was a castle, what could be at the top of the other ones? So instead of going back to the castle, Jack decided to ignore his mother's wishes and climb the second beanstalk. Once he was at the top, Jack was drawn further in with a fresh smell of baked goods, leading him to a bakery. He walked in and his eyes grew round, almost popping out of his head, with so much fresh baked goods, and knowing that his mother would be so happy, Jack was determined to steal as much baked goods as he could. He took out the sack that he stole from the castle and used it to fill up on loaves of bread, cookies, and a few pies. But those are not the only things that Jack stole. He stole an apron, a floor mat, and a fork. Jack took everything that he stole from the bakery and climbed down the beanstalk. Jack was so excited to show his mother everything that he had stolen, and when he did, his mother was so proud and happy. After stealing everything he could from the first 2 beanstalks, Jack decided to go up the last beanstalk and see what else he could steal. As Jack began climbing up the beanstalk, he started imagining what could be waiting for him. As soon as he reached the top, he could not believe what was up there, a museum. Jack walked into the museum sitting on top of the beanstalk that was filled with so many different art pieces and artifacts. Jack then started grabbing any piece of artwork and artifacts he could carry. As Jack was attempting to carry more artwork, he accidentally dropped a piece of artwork which woke up the giant who lived in the museum. The giant then ran after Jack after seeing all the stuff he was trying to steal, and so Jack began to run out and climb down the beanstalk. Jack made it home but was upset with how little he stole, so he decided in a few days he would go back up and steal more stuff. A couple days passed, Jack went back to the museum, and he stole as much of the art pieces and artifacts that were left.
Coming out of the museum once again, Jack woke the giant, and the giant started chasing after Jack. Climbing down the beanstalk out of breath, Jack had to think fast. The giant was following him down, shaking the entire beanstalk. Jack hurried inside the house to grab an axe and ran back out and started cutting down from the beanstalk. The beanstalk fell, and with it so did the giant. Jack and his mother were now rich and had plenty of food, but they didn't stop Jack from climbing up the last two standing beanstalks every once in a while to steal. Jack and his mother lived happily ever after. The end.